Hello everybody. The keyword to today's video is animation. We're going to take a look at a whole bunch of different things you can do in Foundry to make your maps more immersive. We're going to start off by taking a look at using animated battle maps from Dynamic Dungeons, who are in the process of converting their 400 plus map catalog over to WebM and at a smaller file size so more people can use them. Then we're going to add in filters, weather, and other special effects using the FX Master module from UMan. After that, we're going to take a look at animated tiles and tokens to make your maps even more dynamic. And lastly, we're going to take a look at using animated spell templates from artists like JackKerouac, Jinker and JB2A alongside the Token Magic FX module, so it will really feel like you're casting spells. Before we get started though, for the past few weeks I, along with my wife, have been working on EncounterLibrary.com, which now houses article versions of the Foundry Basics 1 through 5 and the Player's Guide. In the next week or two, an updated version of the Dungeon Draft Basics will be going up as well. I hope that you'll take a look and that having a skimmable and searchable version of these guides will be useful, and you can look forward to getting more content there as well. All of that personal shilling aside, let's get started. First off on our list are animated battle maps. I'm going to head to Dynamic Dungeons Patreon page and download a WebM version of one of their maps. If you want the highest quality version and you and your players have the internet connection to handle 100 plus megabyte maps, then you can feel free to grab the originals. All of the WebM versions should be around 25 megabytes, which should be easier on everybody's connection. With the file downloaded, it's as simple as adding it in the scene configuration window, just like a normal image. Just keep in mind that since it's a larger file, you may need to wait a moment for it to upload and appear in the selected file field for you. The WebM versions are gridless, and the majority of them all have the same pixels per inch of 70. If you're using a particularly old map from when the exports were at 1080p though, you'll want to use 50 pixels per inch. If you're using the original quality versions, the PPI will be roughly 98. Other than that, there's only one thing to keep in mind, and that's that video maps often have audio included, but there's no built-in way to handle the audio from a video in Foundry. That's where the background volume module from MTVJR comes into play. Once you have it installed and activated, you'll find a new field in the scene configuration window under Ambiance and Atmosphere that lets you control the volume. Walling works just like it does on a normal image, and you can see that I've got one-way walls set up so we can see down on other tokens, but they can't see over the walls to us. With the map uploaded, walled, and its volume under our control, that's all that you really need to know about using animated maps. Now let's say you've got the perfect map, but you wanted it to be raining, snowing, cloudy, covered in embers, or even just have birds or bats flying around. That's where FX Master comes in. Once you've installed and activated the module, you can use it on animated or image-based maps from this new tool in the left-hand sidebar. Let's take a look at the weather effects first, which is the raining cloud icon. Once we click on it, we'll get a new window that shows all of the different options that we have. We can check multiple weather effects and have them active at the same time, and if we click the down arrow next to any of their names, we'll see options for density, speed, direction, scale, and tint. If we check the rain effect and save changes, we'll see what it looks like by default. If we want to make the rain bigger, we can change the scale. If we want more rain, we can change the density. If we want to change the direction, then we can change the direction. And if we want it to have a specific color, we can check this box and set a tint. Once you've changed all the weather settings that you want, you can even save the current configuration as a macro by hitting the floppy disk icon underneath the weather icon, so you can activate it quickly on any map that you want. Then it will save it to your macro directory, which you can access by clicking the folder icon down here by the macro bar. You can then click the macro and hit execute, or drag and drop it into your macro bar where a simple click will run it. Let's take a look at special effects now. If we click the wizard hat icon, we can see an FX Master and a custom folder. The custom folder is where any effects that you add yourself from the add an effect menu will appear, but we're going to focus on the built-in effects for now. Expanding the FX Master folder shows us a number of different magical effects. Let's take Red Fire Cone as an example. If I click on it and then click anywhere on the map, it will place the animation there, run it, and then get rid of it. With something like the Red Fire Cone though, you'll probably want it to be facing a specific direction. Luckily, all you have to do is click and drag in the direction you want the animation placed, and FX Master will take care of it for you. The tool right underneath is the Colorize Effects tool and will let you apply a tint across the entire map. Beneath that, we have a handful of filters that will also apply to the entire map. The first one is an underwater filter, which gives a lightly distorted version of the map. Then there's the predator vision filter, which applies a kind of scan line effect to the map, which would be good for something like a security camera view. Then there's the old film filter, which gives you a nice sepia look. After that is the bloom filter, which adds a glowing effect to the map. The last button, the trash can, will let you disable all of the effects and filters on the map with a couple of clicks. If you want to add even more movement to your animated maps, or if you want to liven up your static maps, Foundry can help you out there as well with animated tiles. All you need is an animated WebM or MP4 file somewhere in your Foundry folder so we can access it with the tile browser. You can even use the tile browser to upload the file if you'd like. You can get a bunch of animated effects from modules like Animated Spell Effects from user JackKerouac, Jinker's Animated Art Pack from Jinker, or Jules and Ben's Animated Assets from JB2A. You can find links to all of their work and Patreons in the description below. All of these animated tiles can be used for things like the magical orb in the center of this map to show the earth cracking beneath your player's feet, or to have a magical beam blasting outwards and blocking your player's path. Speaking of your players, what if you want to give your players or your own monsters some animated flair? There's not a lot of people out there making animated tokens, but Devin Night has animated 3 collections of his tokens with the help of Jeffrey Palmer, some of which you can see here. And Jinker has produced 2 sets of animated CG tokens as well. Just like with animated maps and tiles, all we have to do is upload our WebM to Foundry and set it as the token image, and ta-da! We've got our animated token standing at the ready across the map. With all these tokens standing around, it's time that we give them something to do. How about casting some spells with animated templates automatically? To do that, we're going to add one more module to the mix, and that's Token Magic FX, which comes to us from Secret Fire, whose GitHub you'll find in the description below, as well as a link to donate as a thank you for their efforts. Let's head on over to the module settings now. Before we get into the spell templates, let's go over these settings really fast. You can ignore almost all of them unless you're creating custom effects, but the 2 settings you may care about are the Enable Automatic Template Effects setting, which you or your players can uncheck for performance reasons on their personal machines, and the Default Template Grid on Hover setting, which hides the spell templates grid until you hover over it on the measurement tool. If you uncheck it, the grid will be visible all the time beneath the spell template. Now we can click Template Settings underneath Token Magic FX. If you're using a supported game system like D&D 5e, you'll see options for each type of damage and for each template shape like circle, cone, rectangle, or ray in each damage type, which will let you set default spell templates for all spells that do fire damage and use a cone, for example. There's also an inner opacity setting that controls how visible the template we're using is and a tint for its color. In each template shape, you'll see a drop-down to select from a number of effects that are included with Token Magic effects like flames, spiderweb, smoke, and a whole bunch more that I'm going to be showing on screen. If you'd like to use a specific animated WebM for a spell template though, you can set the texture underneath the special effects drop-down and disable these special effects like so. If you'd like to use a different template for a specific spell, then just jump over to the Overrides tab, click Add Override, enter the name of the spell, set everything as you'd like, and then hit Save, and then Save Changes. When you go to cast the spell, you'll see that your override has taken effect. Before we go, here's one last bit of info on Token Magic FX. I'm not going to go into how to create your own macros for it, but there are a number of macros that come with the module by default. If we go to the Compendium tab and right-click on Token Magic Portfolio and hit Import All Content, they'll all be placed in our macro directory, which we can access by clicking on the folder next to our macro bar. You can also open the compendium and import individual macros if you want. These macros can be applied to tokens or tiles. Let's select this ghost near the windmill, for example. If I apply the glow and distort macro, I can get an even more convincing ghost effect as it shines and shimmers in place on top of its normal movement. You can select multiple tokens at once and apply a macro to all of them, and use the delete filters on selected macro to delete filters applied to specific tokens or tiles. That covers just about everything you need to know to get started with animated maps, tiles, tokens, effects, and spells. I hope it's given you some inspiration on how you can add even more immersive elements to your game, and I would definitely recommend checking out all of the artists that were shown in this video by checking the description down below, and I'll see you in the next one.